Yo yo yo, sup people, multiplier here, and yeah, another tutorial today, this time on Complextro. Said it pretty good. Basically electro, but all complicated and shit. You know what I mean? It's this genre type thing. It's not really a genre, but I think it was Porter Robinson that came out with the word. At least that's what all the interviews seem to say. Anyway, it's this kind of thing. Yep, made that a few days ago because I wanted to. Basically been working on my new EP and just throwing around some ideas and came up with this. Thought I'd show you what I did because I have had some people ask, how do you make Complextro, how do you do it? So I'm gonna tell you how to do it. Basically there is the kicks, the snares, or in this case I got a clap. There's a bunch of kind of rhythmic groove, whatever you want to call it, bunch of percussion, bunch of that. Don't even necessarily need it. There's a lot of Complextro that doesn't have it. And then apart from that, it's just a bunch of cool noises. Now, there's some Complextro that's more kind of melodic, and there's some that's more just mental noises. Not really got much of a melody, but it's interesting nonetheless. So I'm going to show you my approach to it, and yeah, so started off, got the kicks, just simple kicks, 4 to the floor kicks, some snare type clap thing. Obviously I'll refine it, dial it in later, but illustrates the point. Got your percussion loop, which is just a loop from a sample pack, like this. Quite like the groove on that. Basically, you stick one of these loops on from a sample pack, and that gives you your rhythm, your groove, whatever you want to call it. Makes it real dancey, and then it means that all your cool little audio clips, you can stick them on the grid, and then this loop, which has stuff that's off the grid, will give it that kind of, that feel, that rhythm, that danceable stuff. So some people make their own, but most top producers just use sample packs. There's nothing wrong with doing it. Just go for your sample pack, pick one you like. There's millions. Don't need to go into that. So once you got that, you got something like this. Sounds all dancey and stuff. There you go, sorted. Right, let's make it electro and stuff with noises. Now, I'm not going to show you how I made all these noises, but basically they're just noises really. Like, let's choose this one. Or maybe this one. Or maybe this one. Just lots of noises. You want some bass and you want some not bass. That's generally advised. Like these top 3 for me are all bass, and then so all the ones below are not bass, and some of them are really weird. So you can kind of get away with a few weird little things, but you kind of want them to be the more details if they're just really, really weird, and keep the more normal noises for the main bits, like something like this. Or see what I mean? In my case, it's kind of, I don't know what you call it. It's not really melodic, although there is a bit of a melody. Like all the notes aren't exactly the same, but sometimes you have a more melodic kind of thing. Also, if you notice the way I've arranged mine, they're not layered up, apart from occasionally a bass is layered up with some non-bass bit. But personally, the way I like to do it is I don't like layering it up. I want to give each sound its own little bit, and then I'll process it and make it, or when I make the sound, I'll make it as big and awesome as possible. So if you take, say, that sounds simple, but there's a bunch of oscillators doing a bunch of different stuff, and there's a whole bunch of weird shit getting rooted in massive, and it's not just a simple noise. And if you make them complicated like that, or sounds pretty simple, but there's a little bit more to it. Obviously, again, I'll make it better when I actually mix it, but yeah, I think it's easier when you're arranging it if you just give each sound its own little slot, and then you don't get too confused. Because if you have, like, start layering up your wobbles or layering up your weird noises like this, you'll just get lost, and then you get confused, and then you'll be annoyed. So don't do that. So yeah, apart from getting your noises in the first place, which you can do it in a synth, you could do it with samples, you can do whatever you want, doesn't really matter. The only thing really left to consider is the arrangement, and that's arguably the most important part, apart from having all the elements. Like, you need your drums and your noises and some bass bits and some non-bass bits. So how do you arrange it? Well, you want a combination of stuff happening like in a pattern, and then stuff happening for no real reason at all, and then loop it, basically. So if you look at, started off with the bass, this buzzy bass, it's, yeah, every bar. So it gives it that repetition, and you want repetition in dance music. You need repetitive elements, but you want some non-repetitive elements and bits changing up to keep people interested, and that's all Complextro is. It sounds all random and unfocused, but if you actually listen to it and deconstruct it, a lot of it is just the same bit repeated. So if you look at, say, this wobble, it's repeated there, and then it's repeated every 4 bars. So it's there, repeated, there, and there, and there. So when you hear this kind of wobbly bit, it seems like it's just in there for fun. Like, it's not in there for any real reason, but it is repetitive over a different interval. That's repetitive over 1 bar, this is repetitive over 4 bars, this one is repetitive over 2 bars, but then it changes, but then it's actually repetitive over 8 bars, the whole set. So that's basically what you do. You build it up, you copy and paste things over different intervals, over like 1 bar and 4 bar and 2 bar and 8 bar or 16 bar, and then you just keep adding in these little bits until it sounds cool. And you can always rearrange it, remember. Sometimes the hardest bit is when you just have like 2 or 3 sounds, and then it sounds really empty and it sounds like you got loads to do and you don't know what you're doing. Just get on with it, really. And another quick little tip is, if you have little details like this and this, stick them kind of all over the place, like panning wise. See down here, so like that little weird thing is over there, and okay, in this case I haven't done much of it yet, but what I will do is stick some of the other weird stuff way over to the other side. And yeah, just move it around. And like, the cool thing with this is, like this bit, is you don't really hear these as individual sounds. It just sounds like a cool glitchy thing, and because this weird thing is over on the side and then this thing's in the center, gives it movement, makes it nice. And yeah, that's all there is to it, really. Complextro is all in the arrangement and the noises. I mean, the fact you need drums and a percussion loop, which you don't actually need, it's kind of obvious stuff. And how do you make the noises? Well, that depends on your song. What notes do I press? That depends on your song. So I guess the only real bit, I guess it's stretched out, me saying it, but the only bit that you might not know how to do is the arrangement. And yeah, as I told you, just repeat bits over different intervals, basically. That's repeated over 1 bar, that's repeated over 2 bars, but the whole lot's actually repeated over 8 bars. Similarly here, repeated over 4 bars. Here, 1 bar, and then actually 4. Here, it's repeated there and there, but it's different. It's not quite where you expect it. And that mixes things up. This little green thing, repeated over 8 bars. The whole lot over 8 bars. This bit, blue one over 4. See what I mean? It's all the same concept. Pretty simple concept. But I say that I'm going to try 10 minutes. That shouldn't have needed to take that long. But if you've seen some other videos, you know that I talk on for ages anyway. So we'll call this one a day. That's how you make Complextro. I've been Multiplier. Check me out on Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, everything really. I do actually give away useful stuff on my Facebook. Like I just gave out a free mastering code on my Facebook, for example. So if you want a free master, you know where to find that. I do that sort of thing on Twitter and everywhere all the time too. So, oh yeah, subscribe here too, and you get all my latest videos. I think you get an email to you or something if you just set in the settings, and then whenever I do something new, you'll find out. It'll be sweet. Cool. I've been Multiplier. Laters, yo.